Welcome once again to A Death of the Dark Crusade. This scene takes place at the guild halls, or at the very least, where Memnon's haven is. He is currently out and about. He is searching for, uh, well, quite basically, he's searching for someone to rent out his space, rent out his haven, if only for a little while at least. And that is what is going on currently.
Memnon had recalled to himself the conversation he had with another clanmates. There was a lot of poverty in the wake of the plague of people in a section of the city that is Riverside. While he, to himself, is not doing this out of the sense of genuine altruism. He is confident that desperate people, family perhaps, would just leap at the chance to have a roof over their head, those who have been left destitute. On his way to the district of Riverside, he will try to grab a bite to eat. Now, Evan, I don't have the map of the city, so I'm on my way there to Riverside. What district would be appropriate to put this role in?
Well, the Riverside is basically a place where there is a lot of criminality, lots of vagabonds, uh, prostitutes. It's a little bit nicer than like the slums, but there's a lot of illegal activities that happen in that area. So, uh, frankly, you can go about it in various ways. You could attempt to coerce somebody. You could just physically grab someone off the, out of the streets somewhere in there, and whichever you think that Memnon would attempt to do.
Um, yeah, he would probably perch in the shadows somewhere, looking for any ne'er-do-wells passing by. The kind that necessarily don't run to the city watch, though he doesn't want to be spotted, obviously, out in the open. Um, yeah. So I'll make a physical attempt. What kind of dice pools would you suggest for that? The standard with stealth, or is there any other?
How are you attempting to? Are you going to be physical, or are you just going to kind of like coerce somebody?
I'm gonna be physical.
Physical, it's going to be uh, it'll be like your dex brawl, for example.
Okay.
Since you're attempting to physically uh,
Subdue someone and
subdue someone, unless you're well, if anything, it'd probably be strength brawl since you are attempting to hold someone down to do so. So it'll probably be that.
okay. So
You know, so add your strength. Do your strength in your brawl plus like any potence that you have uh, for the character, and then you go from there.
okay. That'd be okay. Would be the difficulty?
Oh no, you passed it, I believe. Yeah, like you got two nines and a 10. So so I think you passed it pretty well. Uh, as uh, as you're within the Riverside area, you kind of grab a guy who looks rather. He's not entirely a brawny guy. He looks like an enforcer, I guess, but he's not like very. He's not like a mountainous man. So you can, plus with the potence and everything, you hold them in real tight as you bring him somewhere more quiet, more isolated, so that you can go about your business, as
Okay,
it were.
great. So that's 3 blood points plus my +3 plus any hurt I have, right?
Uh, the hurt only really applies to uh, like initial blood, I guess. So this is this is basically you're getting blood right now. This person's not in your hurt, so it's a little bit different.
Right, so it's like 3 plus your dot of hurt, or
Yes,
then okay.
it'd be like that basically.
Put that into the chat. Okay, so once Memnon is satiated, he'll continue on his way. He's not sure quite where people where it. This is his first time going into Riverside, so he's not really sure what the neighborhood would look like and uh, where the people would congregate. He would try to keep his eye out, like out for church, maybe if there is even one in this part of town.
Uh, in the Riverside, no, there's no churches in that particular area. Many of the churches and synagogues and things like that, uh, most of them reside in the much nicer places. There's probably the remnants of a small church around there, but it's been long abandoned and like in disrepair, that sort of thing.
Oh, really? Uh, is like anything left of the structure, like a roof still?
Yes, like obviously but it's very much it's falling apart. You could easily, I mean, you could get in there and do your stuff, but at the same time, it's like it could easily fall at any
On
moment.
you. Right, right, right. Could Memnon like safely just peer inside to see if there's like anyone squatting in there?
You can certainly you can certainly attempt to look in there and see if you find someone.
Okay, is there a role you want me to perform?
Yeah, it would be perception alertness.
Does my merit of acute senses come in? I have sight.
Yes, that will help lower the difficulty because the difficulty would be like an 8 basically, but now it's like a standard. Now it's like a 7.
Okay, I think that'd be 3 successes.
Very nice. And you look inside, and you don't see anybody currently uh, there at the moment. The thing with a lot of people in Riverside is a lot of them uh, tend to move around, vagabonds and such. They tend to move around a lot. So currently, right now, there is nobody there.
Okay. My mom's gonna try to keep to take note of this place. But yeah, he'll walk the streets. Um, is there a tavern in this part of town? Somewhere where people would congregate?
There are there is one. There's quite a few. Most of them are incredibly seedy, as such places would have. Uh, you could easily uh, find one there.
Okay. Yeah, he'll go looking. There's one. Do you want to roll for that too? Search.
Yes, since you've never been to Riverside, it would be basically wits investigation.
Okay, no problem. Oh, don't know what the diff is, but 7, 9, 7, 10, and an 8.
You're fine. Despite the fact that you've never been in the Riverside before, you kind of have an idea of usually where taverns are. They're usually kind of in the heart of places like that. Some are at the very least, and you kind of go down a very basic streetway, and you find a tavern. It's again very seedy, not the best place. Uh, it just has the name of it has a French name. Basically, it means pretty. It was like it's a like pretty flower, something like that. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of ironic, being that it looks like a shithole. It's in the Riverside, no less.
Funny. Okay. Yeah. If there's no one blocking his entrance, I would step in and just take a look at the crowd.
The crowd. Yeah, the crowd that is within this this tavern are basically the kind that you would expect to be within a place like that. You see people like this, very vagabondish people, people who look like they don't have much to spare, if anything at all. And there's people that are who look very thievy.
Thievy, okay.
And you do see a couple of look to be like more kind of enforcers. They're very burly men. They're wearing leather armor, very basic leather armor, but that's what they're wearing. And they're drinking heavily.
Okay, that's good. Is there a, I don't know how to put it, a waitress or perhaps a barkeep, someone who keeps this establishment? I'm not really sure if there's actually bars at this sense, that actual bar in the sense of this time period's architecture, but
well, there's kind of like a small little area where there would be, and you do see someone who is working the bar, basically. It's an older gentleman. He has a very long beard, rather gruff looking character.
Okay. He'll go up to the old man and rather imposingly, he'll say, "You there? I would like a word with you, sir."
As you say that, the gruff, the barkeep kind of grunts to you. What do you want?
I've come looking for someone. Perhaps you would know a family, an individual who is in need of a home. I'm sure some of your patrons, as rough as they look, would fit that description.
He chuckles rather loudly, and he goes, "Why are you looking for a family, eh? You looking to sow some oats, huh?" Like very, very obnoxiously.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Memnon's face looks like as a piece of slate. Um, I'm looking for renters or someone willing to do some hard work in exchange for a roof over their head. And and if I may note, like Memnon is saying loud enough so people around him hear it, but he's directing this just towards the old man.
Okay. As you're talking about this, a couple of people do look as if they are uh, perhaps somewhat interested. A lot of people there, frankly, don't even seem to care that you're asking about a person to live there. They're probably like, it's not really worth it, or it's not their not their cup of tea. A gentleman does kind of come up to you. This gentleman right here, and he goes, "So, sir, what kind of venture are you looking for here? You said people to work and live. Well," he kind of nudges to his table. "I mean, if you're looking for someone, I might know someone."
Can I make a quick perception roll of some type? I'd like to discern if this person is human or mortal. I mean, well, human or other.
That'd be really hard specs, but sure, you can. It would be like perception alertness. I feel that would be like the best option.
Looking for clues. Looking for clues.
Yes.
Telltale signs. Would my acute sense come into play again?
You have sight, so yes.
The difficulty would be scored a 1 and 8, 5, 2, and a 3.
Honestly, like you don't have any successes there.
Okay.
You honestly can't tell. You can't tell, like physically anyway, that this person is human or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Say to the guy, looking for someone who's willing to do honest work.
Oh, honest work, eh? Well, they don't get more honest than me, Honest Jim. he he laughs rather boisterously.
Right. Um, uh, well then, honest Jim, what is your profession?
My profession? Well, I'm a jack of all trades, basically. Whatever someone needs, I provide it. But he goes, but I'm not necessarily looking for a place to stay, but I do know someone who is in need of a relocation.
Is that so? And what kind of person is this friend, I assume, of yours?
He goes, he's a family man. He and his wife and child kind of scratches under his rather stubbly chin. And he goes, they are. He simply kind of shrugs and he says, simply in a need of relocation. What with the plague and everything that's come and gone through this city, perhaps their original home had to be quarantined. As far as I know, they're not diseased.
That is adequate. Thank you, honest Jim. I might have need of a man like yourself in other matters in the future. Let me purchase you a drink. Perhaps we can talk further. A jack of all trades is a valuable friend to have.
He smiles as you talk of the discussing of liquor and drink.
Um, uh, Memnon will ply the man, the barkeep, with coin, and he'll say, "Give this man Jim here a drink on me."
The tender looks over at Jim, and he doesn't say anything. He gives you the drinks, because hey, it's you're paying. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And yeah, he'll Jim his goblet, however it's served. What is it? Wine, ale of some sort?
It is. It's an ale. It's very. It's more like piss water than ale. Basically, it is. It's very watered down. But it's
Calories.
yeah. Basically, it gets you drunk. That's all that the patrons care about.
Okay. So yes, Memnon would just make a little bit of conversation with him. He'll say, "So, Jim, have you always lived in Odessa?"
He goes, no, I've been many other places. I've been to Acre. I've been to the city down across the way, Timuran. A nice place there. But the people are way too auspicious with their money.
Hmm. I myself have recently arrived in the city.
Where from, sir?
South and west. I've traveled through the Sahara and through Spain, across France and into Italia. I arrived here by boat and the march from Antioch.
as you talk of your journey. He goes, my, quite a journey, sir, to come all the way to Dessa. Dessa must be a very opportunistic place, it would seem.
So far, it does seem so. I'm sure you're the kind of man that has a nose for opportunity.
He basically puts a finger under his nose as if he's kind of scratching under it, basically saying yes.
Do you reside here in Riverside yourself? Or are you just passing through?
I I reside wherever I decide to sleep. I've slept in the slums. I've slept in a church. Hell, I've slept in the bed of a old lord's lady's chambers. It doesn't really matter where it is as long as it's a place to sleep.
Okay, may I perform a perception empathy on that, see if he's lying? Like, like if he's just making up stories.
Sure, yes.
I gotta look up my empathy rating real quick. At 1-8.
Okay. Uh, you believe that he is exaggerating on some of that. Particularly, the thing that you think is the most exaggerated is the Lord's chambers. You would not. You'd be very surprised if that was actually true, judging by his physique and the fact that he's got a little bit of boils, a little bit of that stuff on him.
Okay. How did you fare the plague, Jim?
He goes, well, I'll say it was quite rough. It was. All the good places were quarantined, and quite frankly, everyone had a curfew. It's very hard to move about the city. It became very boring. But old Jim here, he knows how to move his way about to get things done. An honest man's work is never done, as they say.
Indeed. I myself am Smith. I hope, perhaps, maybe there's an able-bodied person amongst your friend's family. I assure them that work will be hard but fair, and I will see their needs met adequately.
As you say that, he smiles. Right, of course. Can't get anything for free in this world, after all. A hard man's work is quite valuable, particularly in this time frame. See, sir, recently there was a demise of a rather large building, and the city's watch was thrown to a bit of disarray, it seemed. One of the head of the sheriff was lost, apparently. Very, very uncoordinated, made things much easier. much more chaotic. Always a nice time. Sadly, it looks like things are returning to some kind of normalcy. Again, very boring. I'm much more of a fan of causing, or rather enjoying, chaos, I suppose.
In chaos, there is opportunity.
Exactly that, sir. Perhaps you are someone who like to cause a little chaos in your day.
Oh, Chaos and I are acquainted with each other.
He again grins, goes, "My friend, I think he will certainly enjoy your company, sir. Very, very much so."
And if there was some work of a more opportunistic fashion that falls in line with your tastes, what could I, as a service, you would provide?
He kind of scratches under his chin. You can see a rather decently sized boil under there. He goes, "Well, it depends on what it is you're looking for or what you're needing. I mean, if you're needing someone to help you move things about, I can certainly provide. If you're looking for someone to sniff around and find tasty little bits of information, I can certainly provide." He gets kind of close to you and he goes, "If you're looking for someone to be taken care of, I can certainly point you in the direction of people who can take care of it for you. I don't like to dirty my hands with such gruesome business. I'm much more interested in spreading information than killing for information, as it were."
I see. Your talents lie in a long stratagem, so to speak.
Of course, if I didn't, I probably would not be around very long.
Well, Jim, there is a matter at hand that piques my curiosity. If you were ever to happen to travel past Abraham's Fountain through Westgate, there is a collection of mercenary, armed men. I'm not sure. Just beyond the West Gate. If there was anything you were to hear of interests, I would be most appreciative, but as well generous in exchange for such information.
As as you talk about Abraham's Fountain, he goes, "Yes, Abraham's Fountain. Quite a bit of history of that place. I mean, I can certainly scrounge up something around there if the gold is appropriate."
I'm sure I can scrounge up the gold if the nation is.
Always appreciate good business sense, sir.
As they've been talking, could Memnon have observed if Jim was actually drinking?
Uh, yeah, certainly. You could certainly see that he was actually drinking. Uh, so he is mortal, at the very least. Or he can at least imbibe alcohol if he's a Canaanite.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, Memnon would, give him, like, enough coin that, you could say he can make sure he gets himself properly smashed at the tavern tonight.
I'm certain he will greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. Greasing the wheels. He'll then say, if you do know of any proprietors of arms and armaments, you can send them my way. I work my forge during the evenings. So if your friends are more of night owls, I would be around to take in their orders.
Well, I'll certainly make sure somebody goes along that way. There's another. There's a couple of Smiths. There's another one, a very interesting fellow. His name is Gregory Helmsmith. He, quite ironically enough, he works in the slum area. His job was actually very nice, considering the location. He's a bit of a night owl too, it seems.
It's interesting. I do company of my own tradesman. Strange if he is so capable of having his own forge. Is he not a guild's member?
Asked him about it once, a long time ago. The man simply grunted and shrugged his shoulders. And he simply said, "Not very good competition."
See, Memnon kind of smirk at that. Making a chortle. Well, I'll perhaps come visit to this Gregory some night. Thank you, Jim. You've been most helpful. I can see such a helpful soul as yours. In the future, perhaps, we can have a stable working relationship.
Certainly, sir. As long as the money is right, I have no complaints of anything of that sort.
Yes, it's always good to find people that have such common and transparent grounds.
Of course, people around here know exactly what people need, and for the initiated, can get things greased up real nice. You'd be surprised how much the city falls apart without people like me.
Oh, I can understand. So many have to keep up appearances. The ceremony, the pageantry, passes for civilization. Truly, beneath all just beasts. Or shelter to survive.
Very much, sir. Very much.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, before I'm going to have to be skedaddling after all. Man simply can't get drunk all of his time, at least not right now anyway. I'll be looking into that information for you here. And he gives you a piece of kind of crumpled paper. It's smells like dumpster, or rather, it smells like garbage. This is very much something he's probably picked out of a garbage thing somewhere,
Yeah.
and he kind of takes a very basic, looks like a piece of charcoal, very minute amount, and he kind of draws you like a very small map, uh, not a very good one, very basic, and he goes around there, and he points to like this little X. That's where my friend is currently residing. He would, I'm fairly certain, be more than happy to go to where you're asking, particularly if you are not stingy with your rates. The place that he's currently staying at is, well, according to him and his drunken rats, attempting to bleed him dry. I'm certain you can coax him. After all, a man has to take care of his family, after all.
Of course. What else is family? If not the ties that bind us.
Of course, and he gets up from the table, kind of sways a bit. You can tell that he's had a decent amount to drink before he even got there,
Yeah.
and that very drunken kind of walk. He leaves the tavern establishment, and Memnon he's free now to do whatever else he needs to do if he's going to go talk to that family or whatever.
Yeah. That's the next thing he would do.
Okay. As Memnon leaves the establishment, taking the very not very well map, another another wits investigation roll, since it's
It's a crude map.
it is a very crude map. There's no streetwise in Dark Ages, which is kind of sad because you think there would be in there, but it's not. So you just use wits investigation.
No problem. No problem. What the difficulty was. I scored a 7, a 6, but a 1 as well.
The 6 will be okay. I think it just takes you a little bit longer. Again, the map is not very well well drawn or anything. So you think that you get lost a few times, but eventually you do get to this. You get to a fairly nice ish place in the riverside,
Mm-hmm.
where there is you see the gentleman here, and his wife is there, his child is there. They are currently, it looks like they are uh, doing something outside of the building. It looks like they are kind of wrapping things in cloth as if they've come back from selling, like in the markets or something like that.
Oh, okay. Moving their wares.
Yes,
Okay.
or at least the kind of wares that they have.
Memnon would approach them, announcing himself. Will say, "Excuse me, sir."
The gentleman kind of looks up from you. Yes. I'm sorry, sir. We've already finished our selling for the night.
Oh, I am not here to purchase any wares you have. I've come with an offering of an opportunity. You have a friend named Honest Jim, is that right?
As you say, Honest Jim's name, he goes, "Sir, shh, do not be saying that name around here. There are people around here that are looking." He looks a little bit nervous now around you. Seems his wife as well.
Oh, okay. Um, Memnon will lean in closer, just to bring his voice down. My apologies, sir. I met that man, and he had mentioned you looking for a family who perhaps be in need of a home. I have the space in my own dwellings. He said he recommended you.
The gentleman rubs his forehead. He goes, damn it, Jim. I don't know what it is that he told you, but frankly, at this time frame, I don't know if I have a choice in the matter. The place that I'm currently living at here is wanting us to pay a fortune in renting of this place. That's why we've been selling what we can. Because of it, we've got a tremendous debt. Honestly, sir, I don't know if you actually want to, worth the trouble of having to pay it off. Until then, well, we are within this person's property, I guess. And the wife is kind of places her hand on his shoulder. She is like a parent's three, fairly nice looking woman. There is a bit of you can tell that she's had a very kind of hard life, very physical life, just basically by her looks. Basically, they live on hard times.
Okay. Memnon will ask, what is the amount of this debt that you owe?
He looks and he goes, "Sir, I don't even know how it came to be, but 1,000 gold, sir."
That is indeed a very steep debt. But here,
He kind of rubs his chin. I know. When we first came to this place, we had lost our home. The quarantine of the plague made it quite difficult for ourselves to escape it. Like I almost lost my son here to it. But thankfully, he's a strong boy. As you can kind of see from the picture, the boy is being cradled in his father's arms. He looks he looks like he could be better for his age, but you can see like a bit of the signs of plague kind of still on him. Very minute, obviously. Very difficult plague to survive from. So it's actually quite lucky, honestly.
Memnon would, what I was about to say. Memnon would ask him, do you have a trade or a profession? I see that you are selling these wares of yours. Guessing that they're, wrapped in cloth, he can't see what they are.
Yeah. What you? Uh, he goes. Well, sir, I'm an artisan, or rather, I was a metalworks artisan. I crafted uh, things like basically, whereas Memnon is a blacksmith who makes they make horseshoes, nails, that sort of thing. He's kind of like an engraver,
Right. He does like ornamental work.
ornamental work. It's very very decent, very decently kind of metal work. But when you lose your house and everything, it's like, well, you can't really get any of that back.
Right.
So
Right. Mm-hmm. Could pique Memnon's interest. Hmm. I too work metals as a blacksmith. I am familiar with iron and steel. It would be a shame to let this opportunity go, though it is of no fault of yours. I could see us doing great business with our combined craftsmanship. Tell me, what kind of man or is this person whom you are indebted to?
he goes. His name is his name is Alphonse. Alphonse the Kind, but really he's not kind at all. He's he's a debt collector, a malodorous malcontent.
Where can I find this Alphonse?
He goes, not here. He lives in the much nicer part of the city. If you're looking for him, if you're looking for him rather needily, I would say go to the bazaar. He often frequents a house of ill repute there. Goes by the name of Osiris.
Very well. I could, I would suggest that if you are having trouble by with making wares to turn profit with the market, perhaps you can lend me aid. My forge. There are oftentimes people whom request armor and weapons that are of a more decorative nature, something ceremonial, honorific. Perhaps we can profit together, our skills combined.
He he kind of nods his head very very much so. Anything, basically, he'll accept anything if it'll get him out of this problem, this debt that he has gotten himself into. He goes, anything, so anything that I can do. And he actually takes out a piece of his artisan uh, metalworks. It looks like it's an engraved piece of metal. It could have been a ring at one point or another. It is. I mean, it's all right. If he had much better tools and such, it would probably be a lot nicer.
Okay. Memnon would can Memnon guess the age of his son?
Uh, I mean, just from like the physical kind of looks of him, he looks like he's about 8, 7 or 8, I would say. Uh, well, no. Yeah, probably like 7. I would say 7.
7. I think that's too young to be able-bodied, personally. I think. I don't know. Okay. All right. So yeah, Memnon would look at this piece of art that he put together. Uh, this is good work. Very good. Yes, I can see how we can profits together. You have quite a skill, and it is a shame to be wasted under the yoke of such one of miserly ambitions.
He he nods. Yes, yes, sir. Uh, and he looks to his wife. It's like, Sophia, dear, please. And she brings out like a small little thing of gold coin. There's about 10 in there, very small amount.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Please, sir, take this for your generosity. If you can talk to Alphonse and get us out of this thing, I will gladly work for you however long it takes my life to repay it."
Just so I understand, they're offering gold, so Memnon speaks on their behalf.
Uh, it- yes, basically, since they're afraid of this man. It's fairly obvious they are afraid of this man, and you are the one who's basically offering them a better opportunity. So, so that's what they're interpreting from it, is that you can get them out of their debt, and they will basically work in your debt because
Okay.
because I mean you have a forge. Well, I mean for all intents and purposes, you have a forge. You know, you have said that he could work there. I mean, he would make way better money than just hawking his not necessarily good wares. I guess is how I would say it.
Right. Memnon would hold up a hand and say, "Keep your gold. You need it right now more than I do. In the future, should I be successful with this negotiation, what you offer will be but a pittance to what we'll make."
The gentleman, he nods his head as you say that. They're both uh, incredibly nervous still about it, but it's kind of in that area where they honestly there's not much they can. It's like they can't do much. It's like so they have to work with what they got, which is your deal. So that's basically what they're what they're gonna do.
Okay. So yeah, Memnon would just convey like where he can find them, where they can find him. And, I don't think I ever caught their names.
You know that the woman is named Sophia. The gentleman's name, his name is what's the name of Gawain? It's Gawain.
Wayne. Okay. All right. Yeah. So he properly tells them who he is. Um, he'll also say yes. You can find me at the forge during the evenings. During the day, though, if you go near the bazaar, the look for a man named Yorin. He is a partner of mine, merchant as yourself in a way. You can forward anything you need to me during that time.
He, Gawain, nods as you say that.
So yeah, if I can, Memnon would then go find this Alphonse.
Okay. Uh, as you move yourself out of the out of the riverside and start moving yourself down to the bazaar area, it's much more lively uh, there. Quite obviously, people are. There's music. There is smell. There is uh, more heavily intoxicated people. There are even performers. There are people performing flights of fancy.
Lights of fancy, like acrobats.
Kind of more like juggling.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. So this is the swinging part of town.
Yes.
Okay. And Memnon was told that this Alphonse works a house of ill repute.
No, he's often at this house of Hill.
Oh, okay. Okay, he's often at this house of ill repute. So he needs to find some place like that. Did they give him a name of what the establishment was?
Yes, he said that the name of it. His Arabic is not very good. Like he only knows like the name. It's Or Siri.
Siri. Okay. Um. Yeah. Okay. Do I have to make a roll to try to find it?
Uh, I will allow you to kind of find it rather easily, as they have a very distinct smell that comes from Osiris. The smell is very soft, spiced, kind of spicy hashish. You know, because it's also a hookah. It's also a hookah place. And as you go inside it, you see a myriad of people, mostly fairly well-to-do men who are enjoying themselves with the pretty girls that are dancing, and many of them are drinking. Many of them are enjoying themselves, and you see a woman who is kind of she looks like she is addressing two men in decent armor, and she is basically talking to them, discussing with them. And as she sees you, she walks up to you. Her hips are swaying rather seductively. Obviously, she's like a parent's four. She's very beautiful.
Okay.
And she goes, "Welcome, good sir. Welcome to Osiris. I am Osiris. Please, how can me and my lovely girls assist you?"
Um. Memnon is going to first say, I take it that you're the proprietor of this establishment.
She nods and goes, "Indeed, I am. I am the person who owns this lovely place."
Memnon would like to try to make a compliment to arouse her. I think that's what the book states it as a system. Kind of like by by making a compliment to her in the way that it's rare to see such a beautiful woman be in charge of herself and have
Hmm.
her own. Um, what's that role? Is it charisma and empathy?
Uh, yes, I believe so. Yes, since you are, uh, since you are attempting to compliment her, I believe it would be.
Coordinate.
As you speak of the accomplishments of her being a proprietor of such a place on her own, uh, she she chuckles rather warmly, and she goes, "Thank you, sir. I appreciate your kind words. Please, how can Osiri assist you? Because you're being so nice, I can give you a decent discount on the beautiful girls I have here. Perhaps, yes, perhaps, my dear girl, Rasi. Yes, Rasi, she would enjoy you very much. She likes foreign men like you." She smiles.
I would be honored. However, I disappoint you as I am somewhat here for business. There is a man I'm looking for, an Alfonso. Heard that I might be able to find him here.
She thinks for a moment. Alphonse. Ah, yes, he is here at this moment. Uh, he is in one of the rooms over there, and she points to a very decent looking kind of private room.
Is Alphonse indisposed with one of your beautiful employees?
She nods. Yes, he is quite interested in my girls. At least he pays decent, very least. He is a man who loves his entertainment.
I wouldn't want to deprive one of your ladies of potential earnings. If there is somewhere where I may wait for him, I would appreciate it if you could at least momentarily that there is a man here who is interested in settling a debt that is owed to him. It'd be most appreciated, and my kindness would be generous in your favor.
She nods at this and basically leads you to a small kind of couch kind of area, and she claps her hands and she speaks to one of the girls to basically entertain you, and the girl does just that. She begins dancing for you, begins seeking to entertain you as Orsiri goes to basically do as you asked to find the well, do the thing you needed to do.
Okay. Hmm. Uh, if it's possible, Amnon would at least offer some low currency coins, coppers, if they have them here, just to appear as though he's not necessarily a cheapskate, and to keep up the appearance that this lady that's dancing for him, isn't. Yeah, to keep up the appearance that Memnon's just cheap, so to speak.
Right.
Blending in.
Yeah, that's more than appropriate. As you give her some coin to show your approval of her works, and a few, I would say about an hour or so kind of passes until until Orsiri comes back, and she tells you that Alphonse is waiting to speak to this person who has said they were looking for him.
Okay. Memnon will thank her with kind of like a grasp of the hand and try to kiss it. I'd like to perform just a minor like seduction on her. Not to go all the way with anything, but just to kind of seduce her in a little bit, just to maybe make her just peaked in Memnon.
That's fine.
So a appearance subterfuge, is that the roll? The roll for that?
Yes.
Scored an
8. Okay. As you kiss her hand, and what does Memnon say to her?
He says essentially, thank you for your kindness and your assistance. Your beauty is only outmatched by your charitable spirit. No, I was going to say, which I'm sure not everyone would say that in this place of ill repute about these.
Very much so. She chuckles rather alluringly as you say that. Sir, you flatter me too much. You are making it seem as if I am once again back into my days of my youth. She, again, kind of chuckles a bit as she says that. But please, I do not wish to take more of your time from this. I will leave you to, as she and the girl leave. The girl gives you a very, a very kind of a saddened goodbye of her hands, as if she was wanting to entertain you some more, as one would probably expect.
Right. Okay, yeah. And I'm gonna just give her a polite nod, and he's near the threshold, I guess, of this room that Alphonse is in. He'll enter in.
Okay. And what you see is a gentleman who looks very much like this. Very, very round man, a very fat man.
Okay.
And he says in a very thick French accent, "Are you the person who has asked for Alphonse?"
Yes, I am. Can I make a quick perception empathy? I want to size him up. I want to see if this guy has any intimidation of his own or any courage.
Certainly. Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
9 to 10.
Uh, as you kind of size up Alphonse, he certainly doesn't look, despite his girth and such, he doesn't necessarily seem like much of a pushover. Seems like he has some weight, and that's not an actual. I'm not talking about his body weight. I'm talking about actual weight in something in the city. As he sits, and he goes, "And what is it that you are here to talk to Alphonse about? He is enjoying himself after a long day of work."
Oh, I am certain of that. I've come to talk to you about a certain artisan that is in your debt. Wayne, you call him?
He sighs rather deeply. "And let me guess, you are what, a friend of his? You are what, hoping to do what exactly with that miserable man? He is a cur. He owes me fair and square for services rendered."
And what services would that have been?
He goes, "I gave him a place of stay. He came to me begging for a place for his wife and child. Alphonse, of course, gave it to him on the account of that he would pay it off. And yet here you are." I'm assuming, of course, he's probably given you the sub-story of how I am such a heartless man. He's right, I am a heartless man, but I'm a heartless man who understands business. And he, unfortunately, does not. It is not my fault that his family suffered the plague. It is not my fault he lost everything. Business is business. So until he pays the debt that he owes me and the interest that he has incurred during his time there, I see no reason to continue this conversation.
You would be still and sit. Memnon would invoke command with dominate. If he's not sitting already, I'm picturing him standing up simply because of the picture. Sorry.
No, it's fine. He did get up as he was kind of ranting about this. So your command of sit happens rather abruptly. That he just sits down. He almost breaks the chair with how quickly he sits.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Memnon would like to just flex on him a little bit, just to put him in a proper intimidation. Like when he, I guess, if he falls to the floor, the breaking chair, he's gonna kind of tower up to him and broaden his shoulders, casting him in his shadow, not optic vibration shadow, just standing over him, looking down at him. You want me to roll for that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Would you prefer a manipulation or a strength-based intimidation?
I would say I would leave that up to you, what you believe Memnon would attempt to do with this intimidation. Does he seem like a person who would use physical intimidation, or would he use the maneuvering of words to intimidate someone?
I guess as I described it so far, I guess this would be strength based, but I don't want to put hands on him. I just want to convey, not through words, but through his body language that if this guy doesn't cooperate, Memnon's flexing on him, kind of like actually like flexing his muscles and whatnot, broadening his shoulders and all that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Can I add my potence to this pool?
I will say yes if you desire it. It may come off as slightly unnatural, but it's okay. I will allow it. If that's what you wish to do.
Okay. Yeah. So.
At least you're not like a Potence 5 someone doing that. That would be incredibly horrifying to think of.
An 8, a 7, and a 1.
You have a 1, 8, and a 7, so the 1 will get rid of the 8, and you still have a 7, so you still got 1 success. That's still decent. As you continue to size up Alphonse, kind of squaring your shoulders, looking more physically imposing than you did before. He doesn't necessarily cower right away. He's certainly nervous, and you can see sweat beginning to form. Like, sir, I don't know why you are so interested in this man, but it is not just me that he is indebted to. He is indebted to the people that I work for. That is why I cannot just let him go willy-nilly without paying his debt and the interest.
Yes. The heart of the matter. The interest. I am a fair man. Whatever Dwayne owes you on the principal should rightly be paid. Interest. Tell me. What is the... Out of character... I don't even know if the word percentage exists yet in this time period, but...
I would say... Yeah, not percentage, but I would say the overall sum, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what's the markup? What are you tacking on as the tax?
He will, as you ask for the kind of the increased tax, he goes, it is 50 gold. And he doesn't mean like 50 gold. It is 50 gold every, it was like every 2 weeks. So a very rough interest rate.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's yeah, Memnon is trying to discern like was it actually fair enough, or if it's just incredibly eye gouging. Okay, I can see it's very extortionary. If this man is such a cur to you and you find yourself at a loss, you really think it wise to continue on this course? A man can barely breathe, let alone earn, rightfully pay you what is his. Some do not possess the requisite patience or character to understand that just a little bit of charity often is returned to them. I am no paid man of arms. I'm a businessman like yourself, and I recognize his talents when I see them. Let's negotiate a fairer deal. And I will see that in time, in adequate time, his debt be repaid. Sorry, his debt be repaid.
As you, as again, you talk about the debt of being repaid and such, he kind of composes himself a little bit uh, better, kind of back to normal. Very well then, sir. If you are so adamant on taking over his debt, as long as it is paid, there is no bother.
So, yeah, Memnon wants to try to haggle a fairer rate. He'll concede that the principal ought to be paid, but this extortion of 50 gold every 2 weeks is. Let's see if we can haggle that down. If it's
Okay.
possible.
Yeah, you can certainly attempt to try and haggle it down.
Okay. What's the appropriate role you would like for that?
I would say I would say if you're trying to go with for haggling, I would go with charisma finance or manipulation finance.
Wait, there's no finance on the sheet.
Or oh, should be something or economics.
Commerce?
Commerce, there we go.
Okay. Ooh. An 8, a 9, a 9, and an 8.
Okay. So with that, basically, like how does Memnon kind of haggle the price? We know that it is 50 gold every 2 weeks, but how does he haggle it to try and bring it down?
He will include exchange for like some of the gold that on the tax rate that's been owed. He proposes that there are some, given both of them that they're craftsmen, will exchange a modicum service. These men, because again, this guy has like money lenders he has to pay up to. They can produce equipment for them that they could put to their use, or possibly a waiving or discount fee on arms or armament they may need maintained. And perhaps they can extend it from a 2-week period to like a month, but the rate be somewhat adjusted, somewhere meeting in the middle. I guess if it's like 50 gold every 2 weeks, Non might try to get like a price of 70 gold a month instead.
As you discuss the 70 gold a month, Alphonse kind of considers it for a moment. 70 a month.
would say, given my position within the membership of the guild, you would be losing out on some gold a month for a short amount of time until the debt is paid. But you would be earning a business associate, perhaps a friend, for a much longer period of time. That is a good investment if one has the business sense to see it.
Again, he kind of rubs his chins and goes, "Very well, I will talk to my associates. We will see about getting this debt changed, if only for the sake of our relationship."
That is good. Memnon would actually extend a hand to help him up.
And he will take it. He will pull himself up.
Now that we have a deal, I would turn to this Dwayne, and I will see to it, since he has been occupying a space of yours for shelter, I will bring him to a place that I am offering him for shelter. I'm sure that you could in turn then use that space to rent to someone else who is less of a cur, more profitable.
Very well. There is no shortage of people that need places such as that. And I am certain I can find someone with a far better pool of resources.
You see, you are now being able to position your own self better. This person you bring into your own abode can now incur fresh new debt into just you.
He nods and smiles a bit as I think this will be a fairly decent place to kind of finish the scene, as you have worked to free this Gawain from his debt, and you have acquired not only people to help with your smith work, but someone who you can possibly get money with as well as a partnership. I would say that is a job well done, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so is there an outro you want to make, or?
No, I would just say thank you for playing and viewing this scene. We will see you next time.